9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
For almost 300,000 years, humans wandered. We followed the herds, gathered wild plants, and lived in rhythm with the land. Then, around 10,000 years ago, we did something that would change our species forever. We stopped walking. We planted seeds. We claimed the earth as our own. Picture this. One day you're walking through open grasslands with your small band, following migrating herds, sleeping under the stars. The next generation is bent over the same patch of dirt from dawn to dusk, pulling weeds, carrying water, guarding crops from birds and pests. Also, they can have a slightly more predictable meal tomorrow. Why would anyone choose that life? This is the story of the agricultural revolution and how it gave us everything while taking so much away. Welcome back to Past Present Playlist. Last week, we stood in awe at Göbekli Tepe, the world's first temple built by hunter-gatherers. Many researchers now believe those massive gatherings may have been the spark that pushed us toward farming. Today, in Episode 3, we witness one of the single most consequential moments in human history, when we invented agriculture and accidentally created the modern world. Around 10,000 BCE, in a region we now call the Fertile Crescent, modern-day Middle East, something remarkable happened. Humans started deliberately planting and harvesting wild wheat and barley. They began herding and protecting wild goats, sheep, pigs, and cattle, instead of just hunting them. This didn't happen overnight. It was a gradual, almost accidental process that unfolded over centuries in multiple places around the world. Rice in China, maize in Mesoamerica, potatoes in the Andes. But the result was the same. For the first time, we could produce more food than we immediately needed. Surplus food changed everything. It allowed populations to grow. It allowed some people to stop hunting and gathering full-time. It allowed the birth of permanent villages. Bonus fun fact. Before farming, humans worked roughly 20 hours per week for food. after farming, often 40 to 60 plus hours. At first, it seemed like paradise, more reliable food, bigger populations, the ability to build permanent homes. But the agricultural revolution came with a dark side. Early farmers were often shorter, sicker, and had worse teeth than their hunter-gatherer ancestors. New diseases jumped from animals to humans. Work became harder and more repetitive. And perhaps most importantly, surplus food created something brand new in human society: inequality. And with surplus grain came something brand new: the ability for some people to own far more than others. For the first time in human history, a few could store food, control labor, and pass wealth to their children. The gap between the haves and have-nots, the very foundation of kings, priests, and empires, was planted right alongside the very first wheat fields. For the first time, some people could own more land, store more grain, and control others. The seeds of kings, classes, and conflict were planted right alongside the wheat. Almost every aspect of our modern world traces back to this revolution. Cities, governments, writing, armies, art, science, and yes, even YouTube only became possible because we learned how to farm. We traded the freedom and relative equality of nomadic life for security, abundance, and complexity. It was the ultimate double-edged sword, and we've been living with both edges ever since. Next week in Episode 4, we'll witness the rise of the first true cities and the birth of civilization as we recognize it, complete with walls, kings, and writing systems. If this journey through our shared human story is moving you, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Drop a comment. Do you think the agricultural revolution was humanity's greatest mistake or our greatest achievement? Thank you for watching Episode 3 of Past Present Playlist. See you next Friday as we continue unscrolling the incredible, complicated story of us.
What?